Well, as we mentioned at the top of this week, that it is one of those busier weeks up in the Highveld with lots of racing this week, and we continue. We are talking about Thursday the 19th, and this is racing at the Vaal now, where there are 8 races carded, and as is the norm these days, it's Alistair Cohen to join us for this preview. And before we come on air, we always have a chat. And Alistair, really nice that still trying to keep that swing going. I know it's quite expensive playing in Dubai, whichever course that is, but you're trying to keep that swing going, and you're telling me that you're involved in that Pro-Am, the Dubai Desert Classic. That will be special, wouldn't it?
Yeah, hello Dees, and hello to all the viewers. Yeah, really looking forward to that. That's Tuesday the 24th, so less than a week from now. The Pro-Am at the Dubai Desert Classic at Emirates Golf Club, which is about 10 minutes from where I'm staying. And Rishi Prasad, who of course would be no stranger to racing folk in South Africa, does a lot of production work for Channel 4 and ITV Racing and Racing TV as well. He gets around to the US Masters, does Wimbledon, Test match cricket on Test Match Special. So a lovely cross-section of different sports, and we hit it off last year when he came out to do a few meetings in Dubai, and he'll be coming out for some February meetings. And out of the blue, about a week ago, sent me a message saying, Dubai Desert Classic, he's playing in the Pro-Am, he needs a caddy. We both left-handed. We had a round together last year just before the Dubai World Cup, and we've become good mates. I know he's good mates with Paul Lafferty as well, always asks after Laff. And I'm hoping that he pulls Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, Tommy Fleetwood, or some of that ilk in his four-ball. And then I'll be very, very depressed seeing how good those guys are compared to us.
Yeah, being inside the rope is something special. Recently I was involved. It was the South African Open, and I can tell you, you are going to love it. But I wish you well. Walking 18 holes, I hope you got the training in, Alistair. Well, you're a non-smoker, so that is a plus, because when I walked that Blair Athol course, wow, I needed to be airlifted when we reached the 3rd hole, but I managed to get through. Race 1, part time at the Vaal. It's over 1,450 meters. It's a maiden plate for fillies and mares, and it's a work riders race. And I know that Alistair has given a bipod for the show, which we'll touch on his numbers at the end of the show. But race number 1, I'll give you the betting. The horses that are in single digits. Number 2, National Star at 15-10. 3, Bushveld at 22-10. And then it is Ghost Ship, number 7, at 2-1. Those are the runners that dominate. The only other runner in single figures, Alistair, is horse number 4, Sky Velocity, at 7-1. This horse, National Star, she's had her fair share of chances, but she's been ultra consistent. Does she have a race on her hands, or is she clearly the one to beat?
I'll tell you what, Dees, you've opened up on a great note. You've given me all the motivation. If you can walk Blair Athol, the longest course in Africa, with or without a bag, then anything is possible. Then the mental fortitude of human beings knows no bounds. So thanks for that. I'm now hitting this meeting with all the confidence in the world. I've tipped a bipod as my suggested bet for the day, and I've opened up with number 2, National Star, as a banker. I think we'll be safe for her running into the first 2. Whether she wins or not remains to be seen. My thinking here is I think it's a happy medium in terms of distance. I think that this is probably her best trip. She doesn't quite get home over a mile, and she doesn't quite have the pace over in a sprint trip. So I think this is probably pretty much her level. And Dylan Orbo, I don't know much about him, takes the ride for Sean Terry. I don't know if that's a worry or not, because obviously Joe Gwingiza is Sean's right-hand man, but I see he's out of action for this meeting. So, and Dylan Orbo takes the ride. The last run form was pranked yesterday with Wind Water coming out and winning a useful graduation plate. So I think that stands her in good stead. I think she was entitled to need her last run as well, coming back from a 6-month layoff. Biggest danger, number 7, Ghost Ship. Sean should have some sort of line here, because Ghost Ship ran 2.5 lengths to another inmate from Sean Terry's stable, Tis Magic. I thought Ghost Ship ran very well to a point. I have queries with that style of running over 1,450 meters, but she should come on with that run under the belt, and I think those two will fight it out. Number 3, Bushveld, a little bit worried about the form lines that she brings into the picture. She should earn. She obviously gets a very good work rider on board, but I think number 2, National Star, this is probably her best chance to get out the maidens.
Yep, that's it. Alistair going with number 2, National Star, and he touched on the principles, and we'll see what happens in race number 1. Race number 2 is over 1,000 meters. It's a fillies and mares maiden plate. It starts off the place accumulator, and that's the field up on screen. Well, we got arguably, no, not arguably, it is the shortest price favorite on the card here. Number 1, Silver Mensa. At 9-10 at the time of recording, that's Van Vieren and Mello. And then you have a look at the balance of the runners that could be, dangers of using the betting as a guide. Number 4, Rocking the Time Away at 7-1. And then number 12, Pour Some Sugar More. That is... No, it's Pour Some Sugar on Me. Apologies, Pour Some Sugar on Me at 8-1. It's 10-1 and better the balance. Alistair, before we even touch on this race, I just want to reflect on recent results up in Gauteng, because I find it that, the right horses seem to be attracting the right money and winning, which is a real boost for punters. And, when I look at results all around the country, with all due respect to the other provinces, but it seems to be holding up much better these days up in Gauteng.
Is that not just a cycle of good racing happening in Joburg at the moment? I know that the season's officially down in Cape Town. I think the form and results in Cape Town have also been standing. But I think with the Joburg autumn season now upon us and good horses starting to step out, I think punters can believe what's in front of them with a little bit more confidence. And also the big yards, perhaps Mark the Cock of all the big yards has been a little bit quiet of late. But the Tarries, the Van Vierens, they've been going along nicely. Good value for money yards like Hudolakis, Pettigrew, Dawson, Matchett, Magna, all those stables are also having their winners. So I think punters just have a fair crack of being able to trust what's in front of them at the moment. And that's refreshing. The more people that are winning, the better.
Yeah, that's a trick, because I've just been chatting around, and most guys seem to be having the most success. I'm talking about regular guys that play on a daily basis. The most success they're having is up in the Highveld. Okay, race number 2 over 1,000 meters. Now, this daughter of, Silvano, whilst her form is clear to see in black and white, her form lines don't inspire any confidence at all. But the fact is, she's run well in those races, and although there's nothing that has come out to enhance those form lines, she looks like the right filly in the right race.
I think it's a shallow maiden D's. I had the same idea when I looked at this card for the first time. I was looking for reasons to beat number 1, Silver Mensa. And the reasons that you gave, for example, weak form lines, possibly, bred for a little bit further, second one after a long layoff, sparingly raced, considering she started in June, she's only had 3 starts. I was looking for reasons to get her beaten. Then I watched her last run behind Let's Cruise, and as disappointing as it was that she got beaten, she should have actually won. She encountered a nasty bump at the 900 meters mark. She cost herself a lot of momentum, and she was doing her best work at the end. I just think everything's set for her to win with the field looking a little bit shallow. I have backed her up there with number 4, Rocking the Time Away, who I think is always good value to run into the places. Malasera Kajedi, of course, has been riding winners among the Highveld and KZN of late, and he's well worth his 2.5 kilo claim. I think he's only 2 wins away from going down to 1.5, but he'll still be worth that claim. Silver Mensa, I think, might be a little bit too short for me, but with that said, I expect her to run second at worst. If anything is going to trouble her, it could be number 4, Rocking the Time Away, who, by the way, in her penultimate start ran behind Civil Princess, and she flashed up quite late on that occasion. I think running in a straight line is probably more her game over 1,000 meters. So I think that, although she might overall be average, I think of a 17-run maiden that confirms that she'll get her day in the sun one of these days. That's the best. She could be the one to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, while she's short, she certainly fits the profile of winning this year. Race 2, number 1, Silver Mensa. And it is the start of the place accumulator. I think all in there with her as a banker. Race number 3, 1,700 meters. This is for 3-year-olds only, but it's a high, merit rated 97, open handicap. Now, this race, Alistair, number 1, Argo Alley, is a 5-1 shot. 3 Atticus Finch is 3-1. Then we got the even money shot, and that is Pragmatist. 8-1, number 5, and 6 is a 7-1 shot. Whatever form guide you're using, there is a form update on Future Wolf, ran second last time out to Toffers. Alistair, it is the start of the Pick 6, and I'm going to say this is going to be a quick 1-2 races, 2 and 3 for this Van Vieren de Mello combination, because last time out, that was a tremendous run from this individual, and we know that Bonetta, she is, I'm not going to say I don't overrate her with words, but I'm just going to say she looks like if she goes to the divisions, she could possibly contest some feature races if she gets that merit trading up, because she looks like a really nice sort.
She definitely does. At the moment, her reputation precedes her, but her win last time over Pragmatist was definitely a step in the right direction. Just take note that number 3, Atticus Finch, is now a scratching in the third race, and that makes this race a whole lot easier. I've gone with 1 and 4 in my bar pot. There'll be 1 and 4 in the Pick 6 as well. I bank number 4 in the place accumulator. 4 Pragmatist is my first choice. I've spoken to Johan Janssen van Vuren about the son of Jackson, and he says that this horse is well above average. And since getting out the maiden, he's shown that. He won a weak maiden beating Carnello, but since then has run at a pretty high level. And last time pushed Bonetta all the way down to the line. There was a good 3 lengths between Bonetta and Future Wolf, who he meets again. And if the weights are to be believed, Pragmatist should have the measure of Future Wolf and Just Eminence. I see no reason for that form to reverse unless Pragmatist runs really flat. I've always got an inkling that number 1, Argo Alley, is not far away from winning again, and his last run did suggest that when giving 2 kilos to the highly promising Gimme a Shot over 1,200 meters. I think this distance will be more to Argo Alley's liking. I think that his best form is probably the best form on offer. For example, beating East Coast by 5 lengths, and then runs to the likes of Anfield's Rockets, and also when the Dingons weren't bad efforts either. Probably not quite that level, but I think that number 1, Argo Alley, at this type of level, despite carrying top weight, is certainly capable. And I think he also runs well at the Vaal, although his good performances have come on the original track. I think that he likes the longest straight at the Vaal. But number 4, Pragmatist, the horse that they need to beat, just keep safe for number 1, Argo Alley. He's not far away from a big performance.
We don't want to delve too much, into ratings, etc. But I'm sure Alistair's got an opinion about Argo Alley's rating, after that 2-year-old campaign. He has slightly dropped to a 99. But when you look at a horse like Pragmatist, who actually started off his career quite late as a 3-year-old, as a 2-year-old, he just had the 1 run, which was a 4th. He looks like a horse that could achieve much higher than, what Argo Alley has achieved. Is that fair comment, Alistair?
Geez, that's the price you pay for having a precocious 2-year-old that goes and wins 2 races and then goes and runs down the KZN winter season. I know that weight for age obviously catches up, but then you do get a horse like Pragmatist who starts his career later and comes in under the radar and could very well be a lot better than an 88, whereas I think Argo Alley's current rating is probably fair, but to answer your question, yes, Pragmatist is probably a good 5-6 pounds above the handicapper right now.
Well, Alistair's giving you 2 numbers there. I'm going to go all in there with Pragmatist, and hopefully, as we say, the form holds up and the market is spot on. Races 2 and 3. Race 4, 2,000 meters. It's a maiden plate. And how are they betting here, Alistair? Number 2, Fast Duty, Pedigree's runner, with Cabela up at 7-1. Number 3, well, here's another one, but this time it's Larina. It's Van Vieren. Could he make it 3 on the bounce? His horse is trading at 4-1. Then it is 6 Wonderworld at 5-1. Terry's got the filly. Now, worth noting how these guys try and place these young fillies in these distance races to get that 6 allowance and the weight allowance as well. Wow, 54 kgs Broadlands, and she seems to be coming along nicely. And then Mike de Kock has said, well, I'm going to take a chance with my filly as well. And her name is Turn the Beat Around, and she's trading at 7-2. She was one of the runners. I remember clearly speaking to Alistair that day. She was in a maiden plate. She was priced up as the favorite as a first-timer, but race time, she drifted out.
She did, and she ran 4.5 lengths to Save the Queen, who came out and franked the form at the Vaal on Tuesday. Just remember that number 12, Turn the Beat Around, has been to the races since, and she played up in the stalls and subsequently got scratched. That was at the Vaal. It was just after Christmas. I was actually at that meeting. I hope that memory is a distant memory for number 12, Turn the Beat Around. I do think that this distance is more to her liking as well, certainly with that type of breeding. I know that we reminisced about Studio 54 when she made her debut, trained by Michael Airy and being by twice over. You know, the further the better for number 12, Turn the Beat Around. I've gone with 3 horses though, and I've left out Turn the Beat Around, and I've left out number 2, Fast Duty. I've gone 3, 6, and 9 in my bar pot. I'll probably go those numbers in the place accumulator, although I would definitely include number 12, Turn the Beat Around, in my pick 6. My first choice is number 3, Puerto Plata. Interesting, Puerto Plata and Wonderworld have met twice. It's 1-1 between the two. Puerto Plata, I thought, got a little bit stuck in the mud last time and going to the front and getting collared by Black Lightning right at the end. I think 2,000 metres might just test him, but with that said, he's always struck me as a bit of a soft individual that needs more racing, needs more time. So I think now with the extra run or two under the belt, number 3, Puerto Plata, will be closer to the finished article, certainly not the finished article yet. Number 6, Wonderworld, I know that we've spoken about him on countless occasions every time he runs. Candace has been dying to get this horse over 2,000 metres. He now goes 2,000 metres, gets DeMello on board, draws a little bit awkward, but has blinkers on just to sharpen him up. So expect number 6, Wonderworld, to be right there. And then number 9, Broadlands, who I was very disappointed with last time in running 3 lengths behind Pomazelis. I thought she'd win. She went out the back door quite tamely on that occasion. But with 54.5 kilos on her back, a filly who could very well in time stay, it could be key that Sean Terry's decided to run her against the boys and get that 6 allowance. So I'm willing to give number 9, Broadlands, another chance. Quite a complex maiden, it must be said, Dees.
Yeah, it looks that way. 3, 6, and 9 are the numbers that Alistair suggested here. But, consider, I think Pettigrew's runner number 2. The other horse is Mike de Kock's runner number 12. And then if you find anything else for the pick 6, then you found gold. Then you'll find the cash, then you'll drop tickets. But I think those look to be the principles here in race number 4. Race number 5 is a merit-rated 84 handicap, and this is over 1,000 meters. Now, there is a runner that I like, Alistair, and I'm hoping that you can, even if you don't like the horse, I'm going to try and push you in that direction. But I'll give you the betting. Number 2, Ridge Runner at 9-2. 3 set to go at 5-1. 4, Mtamboswi Walwazi at 2-1. 6, Mover and Shake Up is at 9-2. And then Arbitrator, what a win last time out. Wow, this horse just keeps improving and consistent. And that's at 5-1. And number 8, Tremishi, is at 6-1. Alistair, the runner that I like here, and all these stables you mentioned up in Gauteng, some of them are clearly standing out. Others, although they don't have as many horses as, their competitors, they're also having their winners. And one of them is Fabian Habib. He had a first time yesterday, we're talking about Tuesday, that won well. And this horse, Mover and Shaker, I keep going back to how the horse won at Hollywoodbets Greyville in that Bloodstock South Africa race, which is over 1,300 meters. I mean, that day, whether he was that keen, because he looked like he was keen, but and whether he was going to stop. It was a short run-in, but Khumalo kept him going. And he seems to be a very capable front runner, whether that's going to be his style racing throughout his career. But I like the fact that, this 1,000-meter trip, I know last time out that form line is deadly. If you pull it out, you'll see Taken Out has won, Karangatang has won. Yeah, this horse, does he interest you, Mover and Shaker, over this distance?
Big time, D's. I've gone 3 horses in my bar pot, and I'll explain my thinking now. While you're talking about Mover and Shaker, the one thing that absolutely rings alarm bells is that he's still a one-time winner, and that win came, of course, in the Bloodstock South Africa incentive race on Hollywoodbets Durbanville July Day. And as you mentioned, it was more the ride that got him home. I hate to take something away from the horse, but Khumalo really rode for the money on that occasion. It was brilliant to watch, and he slowly coming to hand, number 6, Mover and Shaker. On the lines of form, on the collateral lines of form, there's 3 lines with Mover and Shaker, 2 of them with set to go. They won one between the 2, and the run on the 24th of November to Mthombo Walwazi, Mover and Shaker has got a huge swing at the weights in his favour. I know that Mthombo Walwazi finished in front of Mover and Shaker, but the swing of the weights suggests that Mover and Shaker should finish in front of him. You alluded to those form lines. Taikanaut was a meritorious winner of the Grade 3 Labello Sprint subsequently, so that makes Mover and Shaker look a little bit better. And the fact that Bling is back on board, he's 1 from 1 on the son of Rafif, has also got to be a big benefit. I don't know about the tongue tie coming off. Came off last time. He didn't run too badly, but of course he won on July Day with a tongue tie on. Fabian Habib's obviously the man to answer that question, that query, and to go through his thinking there. That is the one thing that I do worry about, because I still think he's a little bit better with that piece of equipment. But is a tongue tie over 1,000 meters really going to be the be-all and end-all? I'm not convinced. I think number 6, Mover and Shaker, is a solid each-way play in race number 5. Just a little bit of information. Number 3, Set to Go, has worked in blinkers back home. The blinkers go on officially. The handicap has given him £2, has reduced his rating by £2. His work in blinkers over the weekend was very, very good work. So expect better from number 3, Set to Go. Since that run on the 3rd of November, hasn't been plain sailing getting into the races. I think that he is closer to being as ready as can be. So number 3, Set to Go, needs to be included everywhere. And then number 4, Mthombo Walwazi. I've spoken to Clinton Binder about this horse. He says that he's above average. He told me that he was above average before he won 2 on the bounce. The only bad runs have come on the Hollywoodbets Greyville poly track, if you ignore those runs, and also over extra distance. If you ignore all those runs, in number 4, Mthombo Walwazi has admirable, consistent form. Has the handicapper caught up with him? Well, we'll find out after race number 5 on Thursday, but a horse in that type of good hearts can't be ignored.
Yeah, I like it that Alistair has mentioned the number 6, Mover and Shaker, as an each-way play there. Whatever you've done, Alistair, or whatever Ryan has done, whether it's both of you combined, you sounded like you were talking from Toti, but I'll tell you, in the last few seconds, you were sounding like you were right next to me. So, guys, keep it there. That is brilliant. Race number 6 over 1,000 meters, merit-rated 71 handicap. And here at the time of recording, numbers 7 and 9 are the scratchings, and number 13 as well. Now, in the 6th race, the betting that we get is proudly brought to you by Hollywoodbets. And they give all the betting for Gallop TV as well. And they're giving us the shorteners, the anti-post market support for horses. And one comes up in this race, and it's Captain Dizzy. And the Captain Dizzy's horse number 4, that opened up at 4-1 and is now trading at 5-2. But horses that are in single digits here, number 2, Stormy Seas at 5-1. 3, Siberian Steel at 7-2. We mentioned the market support for number 4, now into 5-2. Wings of Nike, wow, this horse has cost me dearly in the past, but compliments to Shaylin Naidu, 4-1. 6, Covert Operator is 6-1, and the balance are all in double figures. Yep, this is a race that we need help, big help. How many horses? I don't know. I think it looks like a field race in the Pick 6.
Oh, it's a field race in the Pick 6, if ever there was one, D's. The scratchings of especially number 7 in the ether makes this race a whole lot easier. Thank goodness he's gone. She's gone. I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in my bar pot. Mention about number 4, Captain Dizzy. The money has come for Captain Dizzy. Remember, he was carded to run a couple of weeks ago, and Samanga Kamala got off at the start, requested a vet check, and the vet didn't scratch him. So Samanga refused to ride number 4, Captain Dizzy, and the money that was on number 4, Captain Dizzy on that occasion was eye-watering. Someone like Captain Dizzy, and they backed for more. So, hopefully he gets down to the start in one piece, back to 1,000 meters. You see it quite a lot, D's, with these horses that relocate from Cape Town. They tend to turn up in Joburg and they strike while the iron is hot. Yards that get it right include Barham Boertis' yards. So take that all on board. I know it's no good from an exotic perspective, but if you are looking to have a bet, first of all, the ship has sailed in terms of getting on early because someone's already got on. But watch him go down to the start. That's the best advice I can give you. If he goes down to the start to your liking, then he probably will come back all right. But if he goes down a bit scratchy, then that is a cause for concern. He's not one to take a chance on in the exotics. I've gone with number 1, Life is Good, 2, Stormy Seas, 3, Siberian Steel, 5, Wings of Nike, a mention for this daughter of Vaal. As you mentioned, Shayla Nadu's done wonders with her. When she won a graduation plate on the 30th of August, when she was the worst weighted horse in the race by a considerable margin, since then, the only time she's blotted her copybook was over 1,200 meters. But, in a handicap, she's probably still far above the handicapper on the evidence of that run on the 30th of August. So she's probably got another win or two in her at this type of level over this type of trip. So if you ask me for a reliable each-way play, it'll probably be number 5, Wings of Nike. And then I've also gone on with number 6, COVID Operator, although I think he's fairly average. All these horses that I've mentioned probably are fairly average. Number 6, COVID Operator, still has another win or two in him. Very, very tricky race, D's. Full Captain Dizzy, very hit or miss. Lots of horses needed in your exotics.
Yeah, Alistair's, erred on the side of caution with regards to this horse, but watch him on course, and I agree with him. Number 4, Captain Dizzy. If his well-being is spot on, and there's nothing untowards, as it happened when he was supposed to race last time out, and there was money for him. If he repeats the 1 run, I know he was receiving a lot of weight, because I'm going to give you a tip here for Saturday. Bereave will win on Saturday. That's Adam Marcus' run, and you can clearly see that he received a lot of weight that day from Bereave, and he ran a close-up second. If he repeats that type of form here in this field, I think he wins. Number 4, Captain Dizzy. If you like my value play, if I'm going for number 8, Pindem Zala, and Alistair, has got so many horses in the bipod, and this is one he's excluded, tells you what we think of the race, because that looks to be a very decent price at 12-1 as well. Clinton Binder is runner at number 8, Pindem Zala. On to race number 7, over 1,200 meters, and this is a Fillies and Mares 85 handicap. Now, this race, there is a horse here that's priced up as the top one and a recent maiden winner. But let me give you the prices of the horses in single digits. 1, 8-1. 2 at 7-1. 3 at 7-1. 4 at 6-1. Then the recent maiden winner is a 2-1 shot. 9 at 6-1. 10 at 7-1. When the fixed odds betting market price up in races where they price up a maiden, regardless of how the maiden won, whether the maiden's won by how short-haired or 4 lengths as this horse has won, when they price up a horse at the top of the boards, they're not waiting for any market support to come for the horse to be punted into favorite. They're telling you what they think of the opposition, aren't they?
Spot on, Dees. It's an interesting race, and I've gone with process of elimination here. Number 1, Intoxicating, very good filly, but needs further place chance. 2, Golden Aspen, well performed. The draw was a bit of a worry. And then, sort of going down, I've narrowed it down to numbers 4 and 7, Aga Heat and Celtic Rumors. But funny enough, I'm going with number 4, Aga Heat, as my first selection. I think returning to the Vaal, back to 1,200 meters, I think could be the key to her. She was, dare I say, very unlucky last time. She found all sorts of traffic problems and finished 6.5 lengths to Rockets Glare. Had she got a clear passage, I believe she runs 3rd at worst. And if the 7 was replaced by a 3 in the form line, I think she'd be a good point or 2 shorter. So I'm going to recommend number 4, Aga Heat, as the horse to beat. 7, Celtic Rumors, dropping back to 1,200 meters could be key here. The family were all sprinters. I don't know if you remember, Paul Peter trained the half-sister by What a Winter, a filly called Sarah. She was as quick as lightning, so perhaps dropping back in trip could be the key. I think she got away with one last time. I think that's probably harsh. She beat Quixote last time. Quixote was killed by a bad draw at the Vaal on Tuesday. So I think the form line's worth giving the benefit of the doubt to. But I am a little bit worried about number 7, Celtic Rumors, just coming in with a little bit more inexperience and dropping back in distance. So are they the 2 that I think will fight it out? I think the recommended play in race 7 will be Swingers, 4 and 7. And I don't see a winner coming anywhere outside of the race, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it. If you don't... if you think that this horse is beatable, and you're not going with the fixed odds betting mark. Some may see value in 2-1, but then there is a lot of value to be had about any other runner in the race because they're betting 6-1 bar number 2 Celtic Rumours. That's in race number 7. Then we move along to the 8th race over 1450 meters, and this is a middle stakes. Let's give you the betting. Number 1 Vanderbilt. Well, take note that the apprentice now only claims 2.5. That's young Sasibo. Well done to him, young man. Congratulations. Your first hurdle is accomplished. Then we move along to other horses in single figures. Number 8, a 4-1 shot. 9, the mare at 7-1. 10, the mare at 7-1. 11, Lord Varis. That's attracted some support, and that's thanks to Hollywoodbets. We'll get that exactly. Yeah, it is 12-1 into 8-1. And then Peyton's Tears. Wow. Yeah, I've shared a few with her. And I'm actually glad that they gave her this 3-month break because she may have saved me a lot of money the way I was going for her because she was costly to follow. Kept going for the rating drop on her and it never materialized. And she's now off an 81, draw 1 being off for 3 and we'll call it 3 months. What's it? 3 months. Number 12, Peyton's Tears. Selections here, Alistair, 28-10 on top. Vanderbilt. Just looking at the obvious thing is back with the Peter Yard, who is Tony.
Yeah, I think that could be the key here. I've had a tough time with this race. Place accumulator numbers would include 1, 3, 5, and 7. I know that, 1, 3, 5, and 8. I know that's a lot of numbers, but I think you need them here in this leg of the place accumulator. Pick 6 as many as you can afford. I think the comment you make about Vanderbilt, now going back to the Peter Yard, although a different Peter, Tony will know the son of Water Winter as well as the father knew him. Robin Clausen did a good job with the son of Water Winter. He won once with Robin, and he ran some good races in some pretty useful fields. I think Sianda Sasibo's 2.5 kilo claim will also help number 1 Vanderbilt. And to say that I'm one to beat is probably a bit of a stretch. I don't know if there is a one to beat, but he's probably the most reliable. A horse that I'm a big fan of, that I think will bounce back, if not today, one of these days, is number 5 Laguna Verde with Blinkers on. The draw is obviously a big cause for concern, but his runs at Hollywoodbets Greyville during the winter season on July Day, to a less extent on Gold Cup Day, but the point is, if you're running 2.5 lengths and 4.5 lengths to Cousin Casey, there must be something about you. You've got to have a bit of ability. So I think he'll bounce back one of these days, number 5 Laguna Verde. It's a matter of when, not if. You've got to include him in the play. 3 Cabinet Shuffle. Went into the Grand Heritage last time in good hearts. I thought he was unlucky not to finish a little bit closer. He is what he is. He'll run his race. And then the 3-year-old number 8 Meridius, I think, is another horse that you've got to watch out for. His win over Sequoia last time was full of merit. Again, franking that Dingon's form, which I think is probably the strongest feature race form in the country. So he's another one to watch out for. Not an easy finish to racing at the Valdez. There are lots in here that you need to have a look at.
Yeah, just all the best here in race number 8. I just want to, before we go to your selections, we've seen the many, son taking over from dad or son going on their own. Having been with dad, some of them are son and dad combinations as trainers. And for a guy like Tony, the big positive, and we must not shy away from this, is that his dad will always be like a mentor to him and a go-to guy who's only a phone call away. And that is a massive plus to tap into that type of knowledge, isn't it?
I always wonder, since Tony's taken out his trainer's license, how close Paul is to the coalface. I mean, I don't expect him to be making all the decisions and ruling the roost like he did with the 250 horses he had before he called it a day. But I've got a feeling that a man as sick for racing as Paul is a bit more involved than what many would believe. I mean, Tony's as sick for the game, if not sicker. Tony's almost got the disease that we have. But I reckon Paul's around. I reckon Paul's still maybe fingers on without being hands on, but a lot will go through last season's champion trainer. Make no mistake.
Yeah, we are just assuming this. We don't know the workings on at the Peter stable, but no doubt, he's your son, and you will give him all the help that you can to make him a success. So I think all the best. Tony's already had a winner, and he's got Vanderbilt now back in his care. Alistair, let's go to your suggested bet that you've given for the show. It is up on screen, and I see that it is a bipod.
Yep, the bar pot gets underway in race 1 at 12:15, so make sure that you're on early. I've got one banker in the bar pot, number 2, National Star, in the first leg. Bar 1 and 4 in the second leg, Silver Mensa and Rocking the Time Away. Bar 1 and 4, Argo Alley and Pragmatist. I think I'll double up there. Then in race number 4, I've gone with 3 horses, 3, 6 and 9, Puerto Plata, Wonderworld and Broadlands. Then in race 5, which is obviously leg 5, I've gone with 3 set to go, 4 Ensemble Wawazi and 6 Movement Shaker, with Movement Shaker being my top choice. And the final leg, race number 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, with respect to D's, is added runner number 8, Pinderum Zala. You need, if you're playing a pick 6 or jackpot, race 6 is where you need to go as wide as you possibly can.
Yep, and I just did your calculation there, Alistair. It works out to 216 Rand. If you can, it works out to 36 Rand going into the last leg. Alistair's taking no chances there, hoping to double up and hoping for the worst result, or worst 2 horses from his 6 runners to fill in the top 2, and that's where you get the cash. But if you can lower that last leg, you just multiply 36 by the number of horses that you want to include in the last leg of that bipod. Alistair, always a pleasure, my brother, and I trust that everything's going accordingly.
All good things, Dees. Obviously another big carnival meeting here on Friday night. A lot of blue, a lot of Godolphin. Some very interesting European horses coming out. I believe that some big American name horses will be landing within the next 2 weeks and having a prep run in mid-February. So, yeah, it's a good time to be keeping an eye on things in Dubai leading up to Super Saturday, and, of course, the final Saturday in March, which will, if I'm not mistaken, be the first World Cup run during Ramadan. So, yeah, a few nervous folk around here, but I'm sure all will go according to plan.
Well, as we record the show, it is 20 minutes away before it is final declarations for the World Sports Betting Cape match, which takes place next week, and I think that they're having some type of function later on as well for the barrier positions. But we will chat about the World Sports Betting Met next week, Alistair. So look sharp. I'll be chatting to you one of the days, and we'll possibly go through some selections for what promises to be a bumper race day to bring down the curtain on what has been just a wonderful last few months in Cape Town.
Yeah, looking forward to that, Dee. That's one of the meetings of the year worldwide. World Pools, of course, supporting that meeting as well. So big bang for punters back, and that'll be as class as always.
As always, absolute pleasure chatting to Alistair Cohen from the entire team at Gallop TV and myself, Dees Dynan. Until we meet again, you take care. Salani Kashle.